Okay, well, so all JJ, Tom, and I are back in the studio, and we're gonna flaunt our stuff, man.
No, please, I don't want to get arrested.
Oh shit! Too late.
Yeah, I've already. Yeah, don't let's not get arrested. I've already been in one South American prison today.
We've been looking at stuff on
Thanks for saving
VPNs.
my bacon on that one, Tom.
Bacon.
Yeah, you too.
Bacon.
I like
So
bacon.
we've been overdue for a sarcastic, kind of trashy B movie purge. So
Oh God. Oh,
we did our research.
Tonight would make Gilbert Gottfried and proud to what we're going to talk about, because this is like two sets of movies, two film series that basically only have one thing in common, and that one thing in common is separated by one letter.
That's a good way of putting it.
and no, it's the truth. It's the truth. If you may do the honors, Cam.
Yes, we are getting very kinky, very naughty. We can't call this a bad franchise because, well, according to Roger Ebert, this is art. We're talking about Emmanuelle.
This is a guy who gave Laser Blast 2.5 stars.
Oh, that was Leonard Maltin, but close enough.
Leonard Maltin, yeah.
Close enough.
Roger Ebert. Roger Ebert's the guy who wrote Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Right. Yep. He loves himself a kinky movie. He will not hold himself back. So this has been produced by Yves Rosette Renaud, Alain Soretsky, Roger Corman, and Menhem Golem. Golem Globus Canon Films.
Yep.
This character has been portrayed by many people, including Jean Rollin, Aris Latane, Frances Leroy, Bruna Zicoin, Laura Jimser.
Well, that's
these are the directors. I fucked up.
Yeah.
Monica Gabriel, Natalie Yoher, Laura Jimser, Mia Yin.
Laura Gismer is like going to be in this predominantly because of her involvement in this series, and then you got Sylvia Christel and her involvement in the series.
She was definitely the name I recognize the most. It's funny how, for the most part, they're just hard R's, but every once in a while, on certain versions, they would sneak in a unsimulated blowjob and get an ass.
Well, no, there's one. Well, let's get into the history of this, because I just think it's like one of the strangest parallel universes.
Most lowbrow of the lowbrow.
Lowbrow but highbrow.
I mean, because this is what I love about crazy B movies. Not only when the tone is bonkers, or it's in so much pop culture, just people will just throw it out, but as just a wacky thing. But like you're saying earlier, like there's some big name talent, even supporting actors attached to this, and they're giving it their all. And you're like, so I thought no one cared about this, but they're making a conceited effort to make a legit movie. So how do I judge this?
The thing I remember is seeing the Sylvia Christel ones. I remember very, very clearly.
Yes.
Because I'm 15, 16 years old. And you guys remember Skinemax would show these movies,
extreme sexual content. They wouldn't just say sexual content.
Yeah, they would be like, the following movie contains extreme sexual content. Look, just say you're going to see tits, bush, and ass. That's all you're going to say.
Just say adults only. Just say
adults only. And you turn it on, and it was like this, ooh, there's like this woman singing, and then you hear this like classical story. It says Sylvia Christel in Emmanuelle. Emmanuelle, joys of a woman. Goodbye, Emmanuelle. And it was like, all right, the first movie is like a big smash. I mean,
surprisingly,
it made a lot of movie, and you have to think it's during the time of Deep Throat, Behind the Green Door.
That's a good point. Yes,
Last Tango in Paris is just around the corner.
I'm surprised Marilyn Chambers was involved with this.
Oh God, Marilyn Chambers did Behind the Green Door. Then she does Rabid.
Yeah, David Cronenberg. Oh my God,
which blows my mind.
But as long as that's the only thing that got blown.
Oh.
But it's like Sylvia Kristel had done a movie beforehand called Julia, which I saw, which was a softcore porn, softcore porn flick about two teenagers who fall in love. One of the kid, the kid comes home. He's staying with his family who are very eccentric. He meets his old girlfriend. He meets his old friend. They get stoned on a boat. The friend dies while but Sylvia Kristel is like this, like really like, nymphette kind of character, right? If you see her in the movie, she's really cute. She was from Holland. She was very, blue eyes. She kind of looked. She looked like she was a model. She had like that really good, look about her. She was
An
Dutch.
elderly gal next door kind of look, kind of.
No. I wouldn't say elderly.
Sylvia?
I'd say kind of like.
Yeah.
Well, then she had kind of like that mysterious quality about her.
Definitely mysterious, but she always just made me think of a soccer mom.
Yeah, when she got older, yeah. But this is like when she's like 20-something years old, and she makes this movie Emmanuelle, which is like, it's kind of like it's kind of like the height of the sexual revolution. So it's like it's a story, and she's discovering her husband takes a lover, and all the movies are basically, it's just, I find it weird how the three movies came out like almost back to back to back, back to back to back to forward to back to forward to the side. Okay, no,
to the side,
back and forth, just like fucking back and forth,
back
up
to the left, back
into the left. It's like you're watching this and you're like, okay, I get it. It's her journey through becoming this woman who's sexually timid, I think, and then becomes more outward as time goes on, as the three movies go on.
Yes.
And when I say outward, I mean outward.
Where it's all hanging out. Yes.
But it's like all the movies are like, she goes to like Bangkok, she goes to here, she goes to there. I mean, she has one scene where she's like, she talks to this girl about getting gang raped by a bunch of soccer players,
Yeah, stuff that should not at all be titillating.
There's one scene where she's on a plane and she seduces a guy and they go in the back and they get busy with one another. It's kind of like, I'm trying to put it in perspective. It's kind of like every guy who watched it was going, okay, I wonder if my wife thinks of this. And every woman who watched it was going, if my wife thinks of it, if my husband thinks of this, he's a fucking pervert. Oh,
I bet.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it would play in like mainstream theaters.
Yeah, different times, guys.
Who wants, Godfather 2, this is Emmanuelle, at some point it was making more money than, I forgot what movie was out at the time, but it really put that out. Then they did Emmanuelle 2, and if you watch the preview for Emmanuelle 2,
I might have seen it once upon a time.
Oh God, it's like her voice is dubbed. Hi, I'm Emmanuelle. You may remember me from my last movie. Yeah, who doesn't remember you?
Yeah, we don't come to these movies for the dialogue, that is for sure. But the dialogue is definitely a head scratcher in a lot of these movies where you're like, I'm not sure how to feel right now.
Hi, I'm Chris. I fly a plane. That's great. Let's go.
You should come back to my dungeon. Yeah.
That's great. Takes her up in the plane. She takes her shirt off and then, she gives them a blowjob while they're flying. I mean, that's what always gets,
just very like, random places, sometimes in public, to where you're like, what world is this even set in? Is this apocalyptic? What's going on here?
What world is this in? I don't know. I as I watch it when I'm older, I'm like, Jesus God, my mind was like so screwed up,
Yes.
When you're a teenager and you see this, you're like, you got the hormones,
turn the volume down. Change the
Yeah,
channel if someone comes in.
yes. Oh yeah, that was the best. Changing the channel. What are you watching? Sports, Dad. I'm watching sports.
You're not
Trying
into
to
sports.
yeah, watching sports. I'm watching rugby. Rugby. You're not a rugby fan, Jay. I know. I just want to get into it. That's all. Leaves the room, puts it back on. Ah, shit! I missed that part.
I missed the best part. God damn it! Now it's 20 minutes of
I missed the part with
exposition.
I missed the part where the girl masturbates in front of Emmanuelle to Paul Newman's picture, and I'm like,
My introduction to unofficial portrayer Laura Gibson, the Indonesian Dutch actress, was seeing her in other unusual, like, not just the Ator films, the Conan the Barbarian knockoffs that
yeah, I
Steve
forgot she
K
was
did,
in that. Yeah.
but also the Bloody Bushido Blade, which is a fun East meets West
Oh yeah.
epic with Richard Boone and Sonny Chiba. But she's butt ass naked in that one. But it was also it was always funny how she was like one of the few to come out and say, yeah, no, I any movie that has my character, doing unsimulated stuff, that's not me.
Yeah. She told Joe D'Amato, who
yeah,
you
the
gotta realize,
exploitation guy. Yeah.
yeah, she told Joe D'Amato, like he would want to do hardcore stuff with those movies, and those movies
Mhm.
are different from the Sylvia Christel ones because those are more.
Sylvia has a plot and then just basically trying to make a psycho thriller or romantic drama, and
It's
his
a
are like,
grindhouse.
well, and yeah, his are totally like half the time, especially with some of the other stuff he did with her, it was just like a part zombie movies mixed in with a hardcore, threesome, and
Yeah,
then
there was
trapped on an island.
Emmanuelle.
Yeah.
There was Black Emmanuelle, Emmanuelle 2, Emmanuelle Goes to America, which has the infamous horse scene in it.
Oh God.
For those of you at home playing, a woman gives hand relief to a horse while people watch.
Someone wanted to see that, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't.
the motto.
Also known as the Catherine the Great.
Yeah, remember? Did I say that? Did I say that?
Go for it, man. I mean, she's dead. I don't think she can.
Yeah.
Has any.
I don't think they're going to sue me.
Great was dead.
We don't care what the royals think, and I mean, there's a reason I have a viewer discretion advised in my theme song. I know we're going to get into some.
Yeah. But it's like then there's like one where she says, Emmanuelle in Bangkok, Emmanuelle, but the thing was that they were more, Emmanuelle goes to prison,
West in the desert, which is like an excuse for her to like blow up a Turkish camp or something with some spies. They are almost, and even when you look at stuff like this in perspective and you realize how borderline risque something like a James Bond thing is half the time, you can kind of see why some. And then when you even get to the 90s and you see people advertising kids toys for R-rated movies, it does kind of just make you realize marketing was just out the door. People just were like, hey, as long as it gets done on time, I really don't care.
But Laura Gesmer was in, like, I remember she was in the Bushido Blade. She made a movie with Michael Landon.
I bet.
Yeah, she did. She made a movie with Michael Landon that was an NBC movie of the week. But she had to go under the name Moria Chen because of the
Love
fact
is Forever. I see it now. Okay.
Yeah, Love is Forever. Yeah.
Man.
And they said to her, look, we know who you are, but we don't want your name on there because people are going to be like, hey, she's been in
something.
Yeah, and she did a good job in that. She did the Bloody Bushido Blade, which I thought was a good movie.
Now it's like second nature. People will do that. I mean, there's a reason Fredo and Range and Wynorski do that too with their directing credits.
Yeah.
They would do stupid monster movies for Roger Corman and Sci-Fi Channel and then do all those titty flicks that are basically sex comedies. When you get to the 90s and you have Roger Corman's, New Horizons producing it and Krista Allen's in it, it's basically almost all the sets look like low budget Full Moon Entertainment or Star Trek type stuff, but with her going around just hypnotizing people because she's like Syl from Species, but she's not killing you to have sex. She's just fucking going around.
She's dying to have sex instead of killing to have sex.
Right.
Yeah. But it's like I looked at it this way. Those ones where they did like Emmanuelle in space.
Oh yeah.
I just keep thinking the worst thing ever. Like you hear like the oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh
Classic orchestras.
oh God, I'm gonna and the thing that got me was when they brought Sylvia Christel back.
Yes, and she's like a different character or something.
No, she's Emmanuelle, but
she's the same character. Okay, I couldn't remember if because she doesn't behave. She's been out of it so long, she doesn't seem to be in
she
the
doesn't look.
same headspace.
Well, there's a story in that you got to hear because
sure,
with her career, Emmanuelle made her a star.
Yeah,
but she was hanging with Ian McShane.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She was with Ian McShane.
His coolest factor has just jumped 1,000,000%.
I'm
sure he's got some stories. Oh, let me tell you.
Well,
I invited her to Deadwood. She wouldn't come here.
According to what I've read is that she was pregnant with his child and she lost the child and she really got into coke.
Oh.
Yeah. It was like, and Ian McShane was not exactly the best guy to be around at that time,
He was high on drugs too, I think, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And then she winds up going to Hollywood from this, and she stars in, if I think it correctly, she does The Fifth Musketeer. If anybody's ever seen that, it's a really...
The Fifth Musketeer?
The Fifth Musketeer, yeah. It was,
wow.
kind of... It was, yeah.
This slipped
The
me
Fifth
by.
Musketeer.
Beau Bridges, Ursula Andress. Oh my
Lloyd
God.
Bridges, Beau Bridges,
Rex
Alan
Harrison. Holy shit.
Rex Harrison, Cornell Wilde's in it, She does Airport the Concorde.
Oh, yeah, it was Airport 79.
Airport 79, the Concorde, yeah. She's the stewardess in that.
Pretty much all these guys have they must have all had the same agent because Monica Gabriel is a one-timer, and her from, Bachelor Party, Deathstalker 2. She's in Airplane with a spoof of the airport movie.
Yeah, yeah. And then she does Private Lessons.
Yes, oh yeah. That's where she starts getting into bizarre dramas,
which is a cute little movie about this teenager who falls in love with his maid.
Yeah.
And
Hot for teacher, baby.
Yeah. And then she does another one called Private School. I remember that. Then she did what was it? The Mata Hari, which was for Canon.
And by then, that Canon.
By then it's like, it's kind of like, the looks are starting to fade a little bit, because she's getting older. And unfortunately she died of lung cancer from what I remember.
That's rough.
But
I knew she died. I didn't know it was because of that.
Yeah. And she was, I think she might have had a kid. I don't remember. All I remember is her like showing up in movies, and it was kind of like, oh, okay. All right. I understand that,
Here's where we are now.
Yeah. It's like, I was like, oh, you needed somebody to fill in the seat. Okay, fine. When she did the Emmanuelle series with George Lazenby, you're kind of watching it. You're like, I saw this woman here glory days, and you're like, oh boy, what the fuck happened here? You don't want to say anything bad, but you're like, just I saw
they
you.
Already had it rough, and no pun, just having to do, because these were the sets where there was no closed film sets. Now we got, ever since all the scandals people have had on just other shows and everything, it's now like everyone's required to have an intimacy coordinator. Just people aren't going to go for the ringer anymore and be embarrassed.
Yeah, and I was just kind of thinking about it. I was like, she kind of like faded into like what I like to say, the obscurity of what is and what isn't. It's kind of like you're sitting there going, oh, whatever happened to her? Oh, there she is. She's on a chat show. Oh, there she is. She's on a TV show. Oh, there she, Laura Gesmer, on the other hand, um, she did those run of movies, and it's kind of like she said in an interview, she said at one point it just became one nonstop movie. The money was good, but she said it was just like one continuous film. She would do it, she'd get the paycheck, and then she, oh, you're gonna, okay, I'll come back. All right, I'll do it.
Oh, because that's just it. They would have like second, third, and fourth units, and half the outtakes became the movies just so they could get those double features out.
But I think the thing was with her was that when they did the cannibal one, that became kind of like, okay, they weren't
trying to cash
going
in on the cannibal Holocaust type trash that is very hard to watch.
She did a movie called Love Camp, I remember, where she played kind of like a Jonestown cultish figure.
Oh, jeez.
And, it's like you're watching it and she's like having sex, but she was like, but you could tell it like they're just like, oh Christ, here we go. Jonestown happened. Call Laura up. We got an idea for a movie, and she was just tired. She was tired of it, and she just said, I'm done. And she became a costume designer. She did the costumes for Troll 2.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Damn. It's not uncommon for some of these erotic people to also be like casting directors and makeup artists, but that's something to now then go and just design, be an art director in a way. Man, it's something.
Something like being a costume director on a porno would be pretty easy.
Well, it's not like Steven Soderbergh,
Oh God, yeah.
You're not doing Gone with the Wind. You're going Gone with the Clothes. That's
thing. You're not going Gone with the Wind. You're going Gone Down on the Wind.
As long as you go down and you don't break wind, then this won't be too crude.
But don't forget there are people who might be into that.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
We're not kink shaming here.
I'm not kink shaming, but I can't say I'm supporting that.
But all I can say is it's like, you watch something like this stuff and you're like, it's kind of a time capsule with the Sylvia Christel stuff, because it was like, it's these expensive film sets and these, nice, these nice locations and stuff like that. And then you watch the ones with Laura Gesmer and it's like, okay, we're just gonna grind this movie out, get it out. We'll have some old time movie stars in it. Guys who did B shots and stuff like that. But you'll know who they are. And the thing with Laura Gesmer was she knew how to act.
Yeah, she had done all the training and been doing modeling, and it went to the next big thing. And that's where it's kind of a shame, because you realize half the time these people were not paid even what they were worth, acting or not. It's just like, no, if any of us were to do something like that, it's like, no, I better be paid for the amount of, footage you shoot of me in the buff. I tried modeling during college, and I saw how they were looking for buff guys. You didn't have muscles, they weren't interested. And you still see some of that same stuff for women, where they want you as busty as can be. And it's like, well, why not just natural beauty?
Well, you remember back in the 90s, there was that whole, look like you're a fucking, alien from fucking, some other planet.
Look like someone who's not real.
You look like you haven't eaten a sandwich, and then all of a sudden, like, that's the thing with Sylvia Christel. She was very thin, very attractive, and the thing with Laura Gesmer was she was more mysterious. She was, she had that, Indonesian look about her.
Yeah,
and she was very like, very mysterious. She was it kind of reminded me of like, shit.
Some soap opera chick?
No. Some famous actress, like I'm trying to think.
Talking 40s, 50s.
Yeah, probably in the 40s or the 50s, like Anna May Wong or something like that. Someone who was very, very attractive, very good looking. Like, who was it? Shit.
She a noir actress or scream?
No, the girl who's in The World of Susie Wong.
Oh,
Yeah, like Frances Nguyen, who was in
Nancy
Codename
Kwan.
Diamond Head. You know,
Nancy Kwan.
Nancy Kwan. Yeah, she kind of reminded me of Nancy Kwan a little bit.
She does look
You
kind of
know,
have a similar look. Just
We'll return after these messages.
the Jacked Up Review Show podcast is honored to be part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Join anytime, talk the talk, and enjoy yourselves. There's something enlightening for everyone with this crowd of cool cats. Check them out.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
the thing is that, you know, there wasn't really much in the way of like foreign actresses doing these mainstream grindhouse roles.
Oh yeah, and then once you,
You
get to
know.
the '80s, and then they made that part of the marketing where it's like two
Yeah.
famous people are going to be making out on screen. You're just like, what's going on here?
You know, and I think the one thing that gets me the most is I've watched, you know, the Emmanuelle series, and I've got to say, you know, the scripts were good. The
They're
plot was
essentially B
good.
movies, just with you know,
Yeah.
extra kink. Just
Extra kink in them, and you know, there were some ones where there was hardcore shots that were never meant to be put in, but they were put in. The Silver
producers
Crystal ones,
meddling around.
all you can say, it's like listening to two. It's like one is listening to an old dirty blues record, and the other one is
Yeah.
listening to a classical symphony.
Yes,
You
the
know?
B side.
Yeah, it's like one's like getting like Hound Dog Taylor, the other one's getting like, you know, Luciano Pavarotti. You know,
Oh my god! Damn, that's a hell of a metaphor.
and I think the one thing that gets me the most is the way the Emmanuelle series, those three movies were shot. It was like, you know, it was kind of like, you know, lilting, beautiful. The other one, it's like gritty, you know, really, you know, tough. You know, the sex is there, but it's, you know, it doesn't. It just happens to be part of the story. That's all.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know, you want the main part of the story is she's a photographer. You know, this is what I loved about that Black Emmanuelle series.
Photographer.
She's a photographer journalist. She's getting her job done. The other one here is just, you know, a woman who's a bored housewife. She goes to get a massage from another woman. You know, she's
Mhm.
kind of like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, let me
Let's
fuck
do
with-
some exploring.
Let's do some exploring, you know.
Exploring.
You get bored of that. You get bored of that after a while. You go to the other series and it's like, oh wow, this is good shit. You know, the
I can't
story's
think of
really-
any movie with a photographer that doesn't end very sexual. It seems like that is always a thing. Like it becomes an
Well, going back to
unofficial
something-
casting couch, kind of.
Yeah, going back to something that JJ said earlier, that I think is particularly vital. The Emmanuelle movies, at least the first ones, came out around the time of the sexual revolution of the 70s.
Yes.
Where we had, so we put it, I like to put it into that context because before then you had your stag films, you had the roughies, you had some other types where the women were more object than person. Then we move into the 70s and women start to become more self-actualized, and then from there you get to see them as more than just an object to be lusted after or an object to be have sex with. They became sexual creatures in and of themselves.
No, that's a good
And
point, because the
and
60s,
that
there's so many drug taking both on and off screen, and they once they get past that and the motorcycle stuff and into zombies and apocalyptic stuff and even martial arts mixed in with sex, you're just like, yeah, it's just kind of part of their character, just like James Bond.
Your brain explodes. That's what happens.
It really does. You can kind of see
your
why
brain.
Tarantino ended up the way he did. They were doing milkshakes and stirring in all these genres and subgenres together.
It's like it's like this thing where I'm like you have two things to look at here: a beautiful woman being made
If there's
love to.
five leads.
Yeah, you have a beautiful woman being made love to, and the story's very lilting and very nice. She's discovering herself as a woman, and it's growing. And then you got this one here where this woman's a photographer, and she's doing anything and everything to get that story.
Yes.
Or she's trying to save somebody's life.
I want to understand you, Emmanuelle. Be just like you.
And that's the thing. It's two different sort. Sylvia Kristel's character, lilting, nice. Has a husband, and he's and you gotta think
he's unsatisfied.
Sylvia Kristel did Lady Chatterley's Lover.
I saw that. I saw her and Monica Gabriel did part 2. It's just like, man.
But the one with Sylvia Kristel I remember the most because I think that's the one with shit. It's not the one with Adam West. That was Belzer's wife.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
That was young Lady Chatterley.
I think so, yeah. Howard Stern wants to ask her about it.
Lady Chatterley.
Oh man.
I remember them playing that on the Channel 9 show with Harley McBride, and they show her getting it on with the maid in the bathtub, and they're going, oh, like that, he's like, oh, he's going, your wife made a porn, right? And Belcher's like, what are you, a cop? I mean, who, Robin? Show the clip, Jackie. Show the clip. And the thing that got me the most is like so it's like two different things, and I was trying to figure out later why they were showing these on Skinemax and on Showtime. Why they were showing them. And I said the thing is that at a certain point, I think a studio runs out of ideas when they're a mainstream studio. When they're a low budget studio, they come up with more ideas. They send it out, and they're not going to show. They're going to show you screwing, but they're going to show you what happens when it's done. Like the consequences of it and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
They were pretty good, and they were pretty. The Black Emmanuelle series was pretty good, and it was pretty well thought out, and it was pretty much meant to be a grindhouse. These other three were meant to be mainstream enjoyment for the husband and wife. Maybe they'll get turned on by it. Go home and fool around. Who knows? These were just let's watch it, see some ass, see some tits, see some bush, and then watch the violence that happens that comes along.
Yeah, there's always like some pirates or evil businessmen, or sometimes even a psycho thriller undercurrent, which makes you kind of even realize that's kind of just the basis for all of the 90s erotic thriller. It's like some sleazy private eye.
Well, I mean, you got to think too, back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
Back in those days, a lot of these old movie stars were going down into the B movies. So I've always said, the one thing I always said is if somebody appeared in Black Emmanuelle, I was kind of like, hey, what's he doing here? But he doesn't have a sex role. Oh, okay, good. He's just showing. Yeah, he's just going to be there. He's like the special guest, the special guest star. And you're like, oh, I just saw him in a movie 2 days ago. It's like Walter. It's like Walter Pigeon. It's like Walter Pigeon showing up in a porno movie, and you're like, oh, he's just there for the money.
Oh, that's a good intersection. When you were showing me how Emmanuelle was like in part 17 of the British Carry On series, I'm like, that is crazy.
Well, that's the one that I think killed the series.
I believe it because, like you say, it's mixing two totally different things together. It would be like if you were to mix, I don't know, if you did that nowadays, let's say you mix in a Star Wars movie with a torture porn Saw movie, you would have total
Yeah.
A Grindhouse of the musical.
Grindhouse the musical. There you go. From the guys
the
who brought you Crap Like Cats.
The thing with the Carry On Emmanuelle was that they saw how successful it was, and by that time, a lot of the Carry On people were getting long in the tooth. So what they did was they had Kenneth Williams play her husband who injures himself skydiving,
Yes.
and then all she does is just bonk anything that moves. And a lot of the
Just so
people
happens
who were
to be her.
yeah, like the chauffeur, the gardener, and a lot of the people that were in that Carry On Emmanuelle movie were just like, we're not doing this again. This is fucking ridiculous.
Mhm.
This is okay. Granted, it's like postcard. They used to say with that it was British seaside postcard humor. The
Very
girl walks in.
cheeky. Yeah.
Yeah, very cheeky. Very cheeky. Very looking at the camera going, wink. And you had you had Barbara Windsor in there who was a great piece of ass. With her perky little body,
Yeah.
and and then there was Sid James and Charles Hawtrey and Kenneth Williams, and Jim Dale was in that series, and
Yes.
they just said, no, this is enough. We're stopping it here.
Let's stop it while we.
Yeah, I think that was the least successful of the movies
I believe
of that
it.
Carry On series too.
Which is so
they had
funny because you would have thought it would be more successful.
Oh yeah, let's make a spoof of Emmanuelle. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, bunch of guys going, yeah, that's a good
people.
idea.
These were for kids, right? Right? These were family.
This is supposed to be. This was like this is a movie. A series that 10 years before made Carry On Cleo, which is one of the best comedies I've ever seen.
Right?
And they just made this movie and they were just like, nope, never again, nope. And they had to wait like 17 years to do another one, Carry On Columbus, which was a piece of shit.
Right. It's never going to wait 10 years.
Everyone had died from there's only like 2 or 3 people left from the original, and then it was just kind of like yeah, or just it was like serving warmed over spaghetti to someone.
Jesus.
Now to mention it, the Emmanuelle series sounds a lot like Doctor Who.
If you think about it, kinda, in that the logic has always been loose, but not everyone's in on all the camp. Kind of.
Yeah, and there was a period where things started going downhill, and there was a movie that killed the franchise, and then it came back years later.
What you mean. Okay, that makes better sense. Yeah, no, and and then, well, just like you guys were also harping on how people are not sure how to take this, and yeah, Doctor Who kind of has that too, where it's like, guys, what did you expect? Well, having seen the newer ones and more, Emmanuelle, that came out just this last year, 2023. It's by Cinema Epic, and it's by Gregory Hatanaka, who you might know from stuff like Samurai Cop 2. So,
are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not kidding. It was very dull, but it was very attentive. It didn't really deliver on what it promised. Then there was Emmanuelle's Revenge, which is by Kino Lorber, and not to be confused with the 83 movie of the same name. This one has only one M, and kind of like Jim Sir's movies, it's kind of an unofficial take on the whole thing. And this one, I felt like I was watching a Taken movie, just because there's all these other European, half Arab, half French guys going around stalking people, and next thing you know, you're seeing all these guys who are getting off and watching all these other twosomes, threesomes happening, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? But I can recommend that one. It was kind of fun.
I don't know who you are.
Yes, I don't know who you are, but I know who you're fucking.
Skills that make me very desirable for someone like you.
I will find you.
I will fuck you.
I will find you, and I will fuck you.
I will fucking.
I have a bunch of skills, and I'm going to tell you something right now. If I'm gonna make a shitty porno movie because of this, I'll fucking kill you.
I will kill you with my lightsaber up your.
All I can say is, like, if you watch They had a box set of the Sylvia Kristel.
No.
Yes.
They cleared all the rights.
Oh God, they got all the rights.
How much do you think the author, the Thai author, made off of these different?
Oh, but it's like they got the rights. They cleared it up. They did I think they did a restoration just recently.
Man,
and it was like holy fuck! Like the picture looked clear. I think Studio Canal did it.
I'm looking it up now.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so the collection with the first two and Goodbye with Kristel is a 3-disc set going for $40.31. Wow. This is by Anchor Bay.
Yeah. It's great to know Anchor Bay knows good entertainment. Yoink yoink. And it's like you're sitting there, you're thinking, hey, Anchor Bay, they did Nosferatu, they did all these other movies, let's see how they did with that's good to know that was there,
It exists.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up